Are you ready to change your life, but don't know how to start? Is your stress and worries keeping you awake at night? Have you been battling grief, anxiety, or depression all alone? Have you lost touch with your own sense of being or spirituality? Soul Free Therapies offers professional and affordable live video streaming counseling and coaching services from the comfort of your own home. Sessions offered in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Go to our website at www.soul-free.com and book your first session today.
Hey, check out our brand new sponsor, Dynamic Solutions 2. That's the number 2. They offer a life-changing, dynamic financial solution. The finest in fast, professional, affordable credit repair. Is your credit in bad shape? Do you need a new car? Ready to buy a new house? Do you want to rent an apartment? Are you going to apply for a job? Any one of these activities, they're going to ask for a credit report and then check out your credit score. Let Dynamic Solutions 2 erase your negative credit remarks. They have affordable monthly prices. They accept Visa, MasterCard, PayPal options available. You go to www.dynamicsolutions, that's the number 2.com, or call 424-888-2820. 424-888-2820. Now, if you enter promo code ED or you mention Ed Opperman, you get a 10% discount. How's that? You get a free consultation, all negative items removed, get back in positive credit position. Dynamic Solutions 2, life-changing dynamic financial solutions. 424-888-2820. Tell them Ed Opperman sent you. You get a 10% discount.
Hey, you, podcast listener. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. Take the blue pill. You wake up in your bed and go back to listening to mundane podcasts that won't challenge your religious beliefs and your so-called truths about reality, the universe, and consciousness. Take the red pill. Subscribe to the Event Horizon podcast, hosted by Mark Anthony Peterson, and he will show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Event Horizon takes a walk into the paranormal with a splash of conspiracy. It's the podcast that would be born if David Icke and the X-Files had a baby. Subscribe to the Event Horizon podcast by Mark Anthony Peterson on Spreaker, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, CastBox, Stitcher, or any of your other favorite podcast platforms. Remember, all we are offering is the truth, nothing more.
It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report. I am your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. You can find me at Opperman Investigations and Digital Forensic Consulting on my website, emailrevealer.com. You can also go there and get an autographed copy of my book, How to Become a Successful Private Investigator. If you like tonight's show, you can check out our archives at Spreaker.com. And if you want to support the show and become a member, you can go to OppermanReport.com, become a member. Exclusive content, all kinds of documents and stuff going up there. As a matter of fact, I keep forgetting, I got to put up those court docs that Casey Gain gave us about the Tekashi 6ix9ine rapper guy who's ratting everybody out. We should call him a ratter instead of a rapper, right? He's not a rat. He's a ratter. Anyway. Oh, by the way, guess what? We're going to have to change the intro because we are no longer we are the award-winning Opperman Report. And I am your award-winning host, Ed Opperman. That's right. We have been honored with the prestigious, what's this thing called? Producer's Choice Honors. You go to producerschoicehonors.com. We are the prestigious award of the Outstanding Radio Talk Show Award. How do you like that? We've made it. It's like the Pulitzer, guys. It's just like the Pulitzer. Look it up. It's just like the Pulitzer. Of course, I deserve it, Pulitzer, but let's not get into that. Anyway, we did win this award, and it's a pretty cool event. It's going to be here in Las Vegas. It's at Sunset Station, which is in Henderson, Nevada, not too far from my house. They got all kinds of packages if you want to come down and watch this award show. They got a dinner, a delicious dinner with a lot of wine and stuff. All kinds of bands performing. Some of the other recipients, if this is a prestigious award, will be none other than Pete Rose, man. Charlie Hustle. Okay, Charlie Hustle. Me and Charlie Hustle on the same stage. How cool is that? And Nancy Sinatra is another winner. There's all other types. There's all other folks. Rock musicians and stuff like that. Famous from old bands and stuff like that. Classic rock bands and stuff like that that are winning awards too as well. But the ones who stuck out at me was Nancy Sinatra and Pete Rose, and Ed Opperman, the winner of the Outstanding Radio Talk Show. Now, I think that once I receive this award, does that mean I have to stand outside to do the show? I'm an outstanding radio talk show host. Does that mean I have to stand outside to do the show? I have to look that up. I have to read the fine print on this award here. Oh, by the way, it's on November 13th here in Las Vegas. And all the listeners, you're welcome to come down. You can fly down to Vegas. You can buy some tickets to this event. There's going to be music, entertainment, all kinds of fun stuff. Let's see what else is going on here. So it's November 13th, and the website is called producerschoicehonors.com. You can see all the other award winners and all that kind of stuff there, all that kind of good, fun stuff. And come down and get your picture taken with me. Okay, here we go. One of our favorite listeners, Tracy. Oh, this thing is so tiny. I'm supposed to read this? She's an artist. Turns out I had no idea. She's promoting her art exhibit show here. Let me see if I can expand this thing. Tracy, you know how old I am? I can't read this. What does this say? Oh, my God. What is this? The Artist Conservative Gallery of Westerly. And it's at the Westerly train station, 14 Railroad Avenue, Westerly, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, 02891. And their website is westerlyarts.com. And it's on Wednesday to Saturday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And Sunday, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. It's an artist cooperative of Westerly, Rhode Island. Congratulations. One of my favorite listeners is going to be down there showcasing her art. And so hats off to her. But she hasn't won an award yet that I maybe next year I can nominate her to the prestigious Producer's Choice Honors. Much like myself here. All right, let's get to work. How much time we got left? I don't even know if I'm going to make it through the show today. It's been a long day. I actually taped that show with Ron Chepsik today. The one about the Bad Wolf and the stuff about John Mark Dugan and this Epstein hard drive. So I'm still working on that. I'm still working on that behind the scenes. I'm all over it, as a matter of fact. Okay, if there's an opportunity here, I'm taking it. Trust me. I don't let things slip through my fingers. So we're working on that for you. Watch this space and see what I can come up with on how much that we can verify and get going there. All right. There's something I want you guys to check out. There was an article in the Atlantic, Atlantic.com, and it's written by George T. Conway III. That's Kellyanne Conway's husband. Now, Kellyanne Conway's husband is a longtime Washington insider. He's involved with a lot of stuff. And he's written this piece about how Donald J. Trump, millionaire, owns a mansion and a yacht, who's like losing the guy's just losing it right before our eyes. If you caught this press conference with the president of Finland, he's sitting there next to this guy from Finland, and he's like, "You talking to me?" He's screaming at 3 or 400 men, spit coming out of his mouth, with his hair going everywhere. "You talking to me? Ask him a question. You got the president right now. Ask him a question. What's your favorite color, Mr. Finland?" What are you going to ask him, man? You're being impeached. People want to talk to you. And then he does this thing, too, if you caught it. It really struck me. And he's going on and on and on about, and he says, a lot of people, he says, I choose my words very carefully. A lot of people call me a stable genius. Now, and he made this little smirk, like this little smile. Almost like a duper's delight kind of smile, That's where when you're interrogating somebody and you're asking them questions and they think they're fooling you. They're lying to you and they think they're fooling you. This little smile, this involuntary smile comes across their face when they think, I've got this guy. And it was odd to me that he smiled at that point, almost like it was like a little inside joke to himself. He's made that statement before that he was a stable genius. Everybody did memes about it all over the place. It was, a big joke, So for him to go back and revisit that, almost as like a little joke for himself, like he's playing a big joke on us. It really struck me odd, and it struck me odd because I'll do the same thing. Sometimes I'll post something on Facebook or I'll tell a little joke here. I'll make a little comment here on the air. That's a joke only for myself. I just do it just to amuse myself. Like the audience has no idea what I'm talking about, but I'll still do it just for my own amusement. Like an inside joke with myself and the voices in my head. And I watched him do this. So we're watching this guy disintegrate right before our eyes. No one can deny that. You saw him today again. These press conferences in front of that helicopter. And I don't understand why they can't turn that helicopter off. Like, what is the story with that? That he has to go back and forth there for 15 minutes screaming over a helicopter? Why can't they wait till he gets on the helicopter to turn it on, to start it up? Because I got to tell you, my partner, my best friend was NYPD Harbor Aviation. They rode in helicopters all the time. There's no reason to have that helicopter running. You can start it after you get in. That's crazy. It just makes no sense. But it's a tradition, I get it. White House tradition. And he's just mastered that screaming in front of the helicopter routine, man. It's what's going on? Yeah, I don't know. But Kellyanne Conway's husband, George T. Conway III, wrote this really elaborate, detailed article in The Atlantic where he discusses how Trump is unfit for office at this point. And he goes back, and he really lays out a case. This guy's a lawyer, and he's a big shot lawyer. And he just lays out the case, man. And he quotes people like Bannon, people like Tillerson, Scaramucci, all these guys that were friends of Trump, that Trump brought them in. They worked for Trump. They worked with him firsthand and saw him disintegrate in front of their eyes. They call him a moron. And, and then he talks about the constant lying that's coming out of this guy, And so I would really encourage you to go check out that article because it really does lay it out step by step of the kind of a mess that we're in right now, which, it's a frightening mess for me to witness such chaos going on in the seat of power in our country. Now, I know a lot of people will hear me say that, and right away, the knee-jerk reaction is, well, Ed, you just hate Trump, and you're biased. But, what have I just said to you that's inaccurate? And last week, before I even started on Trump, I laid out the whole thing about Hunter Biden and Joe Biden and how the whole thing with China and the Ukraine, these deals that Hunter Biden got with these different countries is totally corrupt and should be illegal. Unfortunately, it's not. But obviously, it's a pay-to-play kind of deal, And Biden should drop out based on that alone, based on that being exposed. But you want to know what? If Biden had to drop out for that, so would Elizabeth Warren. Okay, did you know that Elizabeth Warren's daughter gave a $45,000 contribution to the the Working Families Party right before they endorsed her mother? So you can pay for endorsements. You can pay for votes. And it's going on right before our eyes. So, listen, it's all corrupt, and they're all crooks. And I'm not a Democrat, okay? I've never been a Democrat. I've always said that I support Bernie Sanders because, he calls himself a socialist. He's not really a socialist. I am a socialist. But I want to, nationalize the oil industry. You talk about letting things slip through your fingers. I'm going after $200 billion a year in profits there. I want to get a piece of that. I think big. I'm not thinking small. Like everybody says. Dumb. I'm smart. But what do you call it? Back to the show. But I think I support Bernie because we can organize the people who are following Bernie, that are voting for Bernie. These are smart people. They're educated people. They're not afraid of the word socialist. And we can take those people and organize them and move further to the left as years go by. We have to really target the youth, just like the Democrats and Republicans do, like the capitalists do. You can let the capitalists argue amongst themselves, but they target the youth. They target these kids in high school, which is what we got to start grooming these kids from high school. Now, speaking of Bernie, there's an event here. Okay. Oh, it's the whole month of October, by the way. You can go to that Westerly, Rhode Island train station there and check out this art. How cool is that? Hey, congratulations, Tracy, man. I'm really proud of you. Thank you so much. Now, if you live here in Nevada, Saturday, October 5th, there's a Talk Bernie to Me happy hour. And it's at Hop Nuts at 1120 South Main Street, Suite 150, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89104. Amy Villela is the host. And you may know Amy Villela, even if you don't live in Vegas. She ran for Congress here in Vegas. And my daughter, Victoria Opperman, happened to intern for her. But if you don't live in Vegas and you watch the film Knock Down the House with AOC, with the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, it was mostly about her and Cori Bush. No, not with Cori Bush. I think Cori Bush. And that other woman in West Virginia, I can never remember her name. But Amy Villela was the fourth women that were knocking down the House and running for House of Representatives. But Amy didn't win, unfortunately. But she's still a wonderful woman, believes in Medicare for all. She's fighting for Medicare for all. Something that became important to her when she lost her daughter, Shalyn, who lost her life to a stupid little blood clot in the foot. People are crazy. I gotta start turning off these chats and stuff during the show. I got Ernest Del Casal sending me links during my show here. It says the whack job. He's the guy from Equal Rights for Divorced Fathers, family court activist here in Nevada. But Amy lost her daughter, and she became a fire-breathing activist for Medicare for all and people's medical rights. And I had her on the show here. If you go back and check our archives at Spreaker.com, I had her on here before she was in the Rolling Stone or anything. She was running for office. I just had her on here as a local activist. And now she's a Bernie surrogate. And she's running this thing here tomorrow, Saturday, October 5th, 6 p.m., Hop Nuts at 1120 South Main Street, 150. Okay, let's back to the notes. Oh, boy. Okay. All right, let's get right to it. The name of the show is, what do I call the show? Hearsay. Hearsay is not home base. Okay. Hearsay is not timeout. Now, remember when we were kids? I grew up as a kid, a little kid in the Bronx. So we didn't have a lot of money for toys and bicycles and stuff like that. We had to really make do with nothing, you know. So a lot of we lived in this big, giant 21-story building, the Crows Avenue, the Schuyler House, which was like government subsidized housing. Now, there was hundreds of kids out there playing every day, you know, with no supervision, very little. I've told these stories before. All the moms would sit there on the bench, you know, when we were little, you know. But then as we got older, you know, the moms were upstairs drinking wine. You know, let us do whatever we wanted. Oh, my God. So a lot of we didn't have baseball bats and gloves. We didn't have all that kind of stuff. So what we would do, you know, get a Spalding, a rubber ball, and we would use the wall. We'd play hit off the wall, right? Instead of a bat, you throw the ball against the wall as hard as you can. You run the bases, right? And so we had hit off the wall, and then we had hit off the barrel. We had these big cement barrels that were out in this park, I don't even know what the purpose of these things were. But hit off the barrel, and you'd throw the ball in the barrel, and you'd run around the bases. And you didn't have real bases, like one base was, the monkey bars, another base was a fence post. Now, and another, you used to play games like tag, and hide and seek and these kind of stuff, right? So now, the thing is, though, when you're a bunch of kids like this and you're making up these games, right, you're also making up the rules to these games, right? And you know me, I'm the kind of guy, when the group is making up the rules, I like to be in there, having my input. I like to make up the rules along, to favor me, right? And it seems to me that Trump was one of those kids as well, or at least he is now, as this damaged adult that this poor man is, And he thinks he's playing out there. He's playing tag, or he's playing hit off the wall, and or hit off the curb. We had too. There was another game too. We had to throw the ball just right to hit that curb. You had to hit that point right on the curb, and then it would go far. Otherwise, you had a ground ball. You get a fly ball if you hit it right. Anyway, so Trump and all his buddies in the Republican Party are just making up the rules as they go along. Now, And they've come up with this idea, with this whole thing with this whistleblower, all right? And the idea is, they were saying for the first 3 days, well, the whistleblower report, the complaint, is invalid because it wasn't a first-hand complaint. It was hearsay. And all you got to do is throw that word out there, hearsay. Everybody hears it. You're watching Perry Mason or one of these court TV shows, and the witness is saying something, and the opposing attorney yells out, hearsay, Your Honor. And the judge will say, hearsay, overruled, or what's that other thing they say? Who knows? Okay, but the judge doesn't allow it because it's hearsay. So people are hypnotized by this word, and they don't understand it, okay? Now, in court, a witness can't get on the witness stand and testify to what he heard someone else say. Because if they bring in that other guy, bring in the guy who said it and have him say it here. Otherwise, that's hearsay. The witness on the stand is saying, I heard him say, and now I want to tell you, and that's not allowed. Okay. Now, there's all kinds of exceptions to the hearsay rule. And you can just Google that, exceptions to the hearsay rule. The page is so damn long that there's a lot of ways you can get hearsay in there. Okay? Now, a lot of times people will listen to me reporting on the show here, and I'll say, Ed, everything you just said was hearsay. Okay? Like it's just a bad thing. Hearsay's, it's like yelling time out. Okay? Okay, well, all you got to do is yell it out, and everything you're saying doesn't count because it's bad. But that's exactly what reporting is, okay? If you're reporting something, all right, if I'm doing a report to you, I'm talking to various sources of information, I'm hearing what they say, and then I'm coming here and I'm reporting it to you, okay? So it's the definition of hearsay. Yeah, okay? And it's perfectly fine. It doesn't mean that it's wrong or it's a lie or it's bad or it's timeout. See, when we used to play out there in the street, right? A lot of times, because we'd be playing with the ball hit off the wall, right? Okay. And we would be playing right there in the path where people had to walk in and out of the building. All of us little kids, like Lord of the Flies, we were like out there. Okay, with no supervision at all. We're in the same clothes for days. And back then, too, when you were a kid, you get a cut, you had cuts and scrapes on your knees and your elbows and you're bleeding every day. You came home bleeding at least once. And the Band-Aids back in those days, they didn't even have that little piece of gauze on there. They would put a Band-Aid on your leg or your arm, and it would be on there for days. The same dirty, filthy Band-Aid. And then after a week or so, you'd have to pull it off, and it would adhere to your skin, almost like it was grafted into your skin, and it would pull the scab off with it. It was a nightmare. They didn't have Band-Aids like they have now. This is a torture Band-Aid we had when I was a kid. Okay? But here we're out there playing. like Lord of the Flies, with our pigs on spears and stuff. And if an adult had to walk through to get from his car into his home, okay, we would have to stop the game and we'd yell out, interference. Okay, and we'd kind of yell at the adult too, like, we were mad at them, we were intimidated by them, right? Or if you're playing tag and something like that, you'd create home base. And then there was always the guy who said, well, okay, I'm going to make everything home base. So all you got to do is just touch it. This is home base now too, right? It's cheating, right? So yelling out hearsay is not like yelling out interference or yelling out home base. It doesn't make you safe. Okay. Now, the theory here is with Trump and his R gang of Lord of the Flies over there at Congress, these Republicans in the Senate, these characters he has following him around, they come up with this theory. Now, here's how it goes with the complaint, the whistleblower complaint. There were about 6 guys that were aware that Trump was using extortion and abusing his power by making the president of the Ukraine play ball. Okay, and he had to play ball before we would give him those arms. And before we give you the arms, or even attend your inauguration or allow you to come visit the White House, you got to play ball. Right? Now, so there's about 6 guys who knew about this because they were in on the discussions. They were first-hand eyewitnesses. And they told this other guy that we're hearing now is most likely a CIA agent. And that's the guy who went and made the complaint. So they're saying, well, it's hearsay. He heard them say it. He's not a first-hand witness. He heard them. Okay, well, well, let's examine that for a second. It's not, it's not home base, Mr. Trump. Okay, you got to go back out there and keep running. Okay, let's say I have 6 friends, and they work in an office, right? And they're telemarketers. And they're committing fraud. They're committing fraud, like charity fraud. They made up a fake charity and they got people donating money to them. All right. And they tell me what happened. One day we're sitting at lunch and they tell me, oh, yeah, you're not going to believe this. We work for this company and we're stealing money. We feel terrible about this. We got people to donate money to a fake charity and we keep the money. We split it up. And the boss of the company is making us do this. And we don't know what to do. We don't want to lose our jobs, but he's doing it. Now, if they tell me that, right, and I'm a witness to them telling me this, if I were to go down to the police station and say, hey, I have to report a crime. I'm aware, I have knowledge of this crime going on, and I want to report it to you, right? Do you think the cop would say, no, it's hearsay. I don't want to hear that. But of course they would want to hear it. And of course they would take your statement. They would take your tip. They'd take a statement, actually, And then they would go and hand it over to the detectives, and he would be investigated. Nothing would happen because they don't do crap anymore. These cops do nothing. Okay, if it's not pulling you over to plant some drugs on you, they're doing nothing. But of course, that's the analogy for this, man. So if this CIA agent has 6 guys telling him, hey, man, we're extorting the government of the Ukraine here for political purposes, that's not hearsay. That's not hearsay at all. Of course you can report that. But since then, and not only that, but after it was reported to the Inspector General, the Inspector General then went and interviewed those 6 people and said, yes, this is happening and it's urgent. Okay? And then he referred it to where? To the Department of Justice for prosecution. And who did he refer it to? Bill Barr. And Bill Barr took it and said, I see no crime. He threw it away. That's a conflict of interest because Bill Barr was named in all this. He's involved in all this. Okay? See, Trump is using his attorney general, the top cop of the country, to go after his political enemies. All right? And who's ever doing that, if it was Jimmy Carter, if it was Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, whoever's doing that, we can't allow that, guys. Okay? And even if you're a Trump fan and you wear that stupid hat and you think, well, that's okay, man, because we're getting away with this. You know, we're winners. We're winning, and we're taking every edge we can take. Sooner or later, the other team's going to be in power, and they're going to use that against you. We got to play fair, all right? Otherwise, we're going to have firing squads in the street. And so you got to keep this stuff in mind. And it's the same thing too with this another magic word that we're hypnotized with. Illegal immigrants, illegal aliens, illegals. They're illegals. Some little paperwork crime. Like you don't have registration for your car. You're pulled over. They don't arrest everybody in the car. They don't take your kids and put them in a cage. If you get pulled over with no paperwork for your car, no registration. But you don't have your paperwork for your citizenship. Oh, my God, it's the worst crime in the world. Shoot them. Put them in a cage. Well, they're here illegal. They don't count. All right? If you think that you've been hypnotized to think that it's okay to put someone else and someone else's kid in a cage, and it's never going to happen to you because you got a piece of paper and they don't have that piece of paper, that's what's keeping you out of that cage and putting him in that cage? A piece of paper? Huh? That's going to save you? You got to think about that long and hard, my friends. That's no joke. And that's where we're heading. Bad times ahead. Okay, man, the clock's moving. And I forgot to load up my commercials. How's that? Well, and now I got to do it while I'm talking to you. I hate that. But I do it every week, I make these same mistakes every week, And I'm getting older, I got to tell you. Forgetting stuff. Hey, guys out there, if you pray, I know I don't always talk on its praise. If you can say a prayer for Victoria, for the past month or so, since she's been off of college, she's limping around on her foot. And finally convinced her to go over to a quick care, an urgent care, and have her checked out. And so they says, well, there's nothing broken, because she had broken her foot not too long ago. Nothing's broken. But he's thinking, hey, it could be a blood clot in there. Which, by the way, is what happened to Amy Villalla's daughter, She got that blood clot in her leg. Well, hers was a lot worse. But then tonight, Vic was saying, too, that she went to make the appointment for the MRI, the follow-up. And she screwed that up. It was too late to make the appointment. And she was saying, well, I'm going to go home and go to bed because I'm having trouble breathing. So if you can pray for her, please, I would really appreciate that. So we'll be right back after these messages. And now a word from our sponsors. Hey, check out our brand new sponsor, Dynamic Solutions 2. That's the number 2. They offer a life-changing, dynamic financial solution. The finest in fast, professional, affordable credit repair. Is your credit in bad shape? Do you need a new car? Ready to buy a new house? You want to rent an apartment? Are you going to apply for a job? Any one of these activities, they're going to ask for a credit report and then check out your credit score. Let Dynamic Solutions 2 erase your negative credit remarks. They have affordable monthly prices. They accept Visa, MasterCard, PayPal options available. You go to www.dynamicsolutions, that's the number 2.com, or call 424-888-2820. 424-888-2820. Now, if you enter promo code ED or you mention Ed Opperman, you get a 10% discount. How's that? You get a free consultation, all negative items removed, get back in positive credit position. Dynamic Solutions 2, life-changing dynamic financial solutions. 424-888-2820. Tell them Ed Opperman sent you. You get a 10% discount.
Tina Helmuth is writing an ongoing series of fact-fiction books that boldly takes on today's most heinous crimes: the abduction, sexual trafficking, and cannibalization of our children. Suffer the Little Children, The Wrath of the Father, and Unbreakable. Deeply researched and mixed with the supernatural, good versus evil makes these thrillers hard to put down, shining a light on the root cause of these crimes and introducing a spiritual solution. Justice will be served. Available at lulu.com in paperback or ebook.
Are you ready to change your life, but don't know how to start? Is your stress and worries keeping you awake at night? Have you been battling grief, anxiety, or depression all alone? Have you lost touch with your own sense of being or spirituality? Soul Free Therapies offers professional and affordable live video streaming counseling and coaching services from the comfort of your own home. Sessions offered in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Go to our website at www.soul-free.com and book your first session today.
It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Oh, boy. Okay, welcome back to the award-winning Opperman Report. I am your award-winning host, Ed Opperman, the prestigious Producer's Honors Choice. Outstanding. The Standing Outside radio host. All right. Oh, God, I got 25 minutes to get through this. I can do it. Well, you know, I almost don't want to go into this. But one of the things that Trump is working on here in the Ukraine was trying to prove this theory about CrowdStrike. So, you know, I says, okay, people send me this theory. So, you know, people started sending me these different theories. And, well, I'm trying to read through it and make sense of it. So what I did was I contacted CrowdStrike. Yeah, well, gee whiz, what do you think? Let me contact CrowdStrike and see what they have to say about this. CrowdStrike is a computer forensic team who worked for the DNC. They went into the DNC after the servers were hacked, and they reformatted all the hard drives and stuff over there to get rid of the phishing. What was it? Like a Trojan horse Trojan virus that what's his name? Podesta downloaded like an idiot. Now, one of the things that I check with them. And by the way, I'm trying to get a spokesperson to come on the show, and I think I can pull it off. I have someone come on and talk to us informally. One of the things that I want to clear up, because I got this straight from the company, is people are saying that, well, how come the DNC didn't turn over their computers to the FBI? And what I found is that they did. Okay, that's not true. That whole thing I've been hearing over and over again. Why didn't they turn over the servers? Why? Even Trump has said it. They took an image of the hard drives and they gave it to the FBI, which is standard operating procedure in computer forensics. There's nothing unusual about that at all. The only thing that they did not allow the FBI to do was come into their servers at the time, live, at the time that the Trojan was on there, and like trying to send disinformation over to Russia and stuff like that, and try to set little traps for the Russians so we can go back and get into their computers. And I can't blame them for that, because they are in the middle of a presidential campaign. You don't want that kind of distraction going on in your servers. Who needs that? I wouldn't allow that. I got no problem with that at all. So we're getting into all this stuff here, and I know that people are upset with me because I'm not impressed with Mr. Binney, who has this theory. And I even got into it a little bit there with Mr. Dugan earlier tonight. By the way, if you're just tuning into this show here, check out the series of shows I just did with John Mark Dugan, who took off to Russia. And now he's claiming that he has Jeffrey Epstein's hard drive and other data and material out there related to the Epstein case. I questioned him for quite a bit, on the air and off the air. We're still talking. I'm trying to confirm his story in other ways as well. And then I had on the journalist who he had out there with him, who to try and confirm it through him. I spent an hour talking to him, Mr. Ron Chepasik. Nice Canadian man. Okay, I don't think Canadians have this reputation of being really friendly and being polite. So I was trying to explain that to him at the end of the show. I don't think he caught on. But one of the things that even Mr. Dugan said was that, well, Binney is former NSA, and Binney is former NSA, all right, but so is about half of the state of Maryland. Did you know that the state of Maryland, the largest employer in the state of Maryland, is the NSA? So if you walk down the street in Maryland, many of the people you will meet will be ex-NSA. Okay? And that doesn't mean that they're all, super duper expert computer guys, and they're all, have all kind of secret information. These are all regular guys, man, working regular jobs, okay? And it just seems a little odd to me that when you have these people with these fanciful tales, and I'm not talking about Benny at this point, because there's another character out there that I've exposed with big stories that he worked for the NSA, blah blah blah. It doesn't mean that you're an expert on everything because you're ex-NSA. All right, it doesn't impress me at all. Not even a little bit, to tell you the truth. These are just normal people like you and me. They don't have access to all the secrets of the world, and then what they're gonna leave the NSA and go head off to UFO conventions. That's what. And don't yell at me, man. Okay, when I bring up that this guy's at a UFO convention. Okay, if you're saying I'm smearing somebody by mentioning that then why is he at a UFO? If it's a smear to be at a UFO convention, me telling you about it, then why is he there? Eh? Anyway, I don't even want to get into all that CrowdStrike stuff. It's just too... People like to be entertained by the mysterious and the secret. They like to get chills. They don't like to have sober thoughts and facts. Oh, hey, I got a real good one for you. Gavin Newsom in California signed into law the public bank. The state of California is going to have a public bank, guys, which is a huge benefit to the people of California. Now, what that is, okay, everyone knows what a private bank is, right? A commercial bank, like Bank of America or Wells Fargo, right? And they're loaning money, and they're setting up checking accounts for you and giving you debit cards and things like that, and have all these kind of products they're selling you and loaning you business loans and all that kind of stuff. But those profits go to the stockholders, people that sit around and do no work. Okay, right. With a public bank, those profits go back into the bank, and the bank goes out and loans more money to people at lower interest rates and stuff like that for public works projects, for good projects that benefit all the people. That's a socialist bank. Okay, that is socialism. See, socialism, a lot of people think it means they're giving away free this and giving away free that. No. Socialism is the workers own the factory. And this is what a public bank is, that the workers are going to own the bank. And the citizens of California are going to own that bank. And the profits from that bank are going to go back into the citizens of California. Now, of course, there's going to be some theft and graft and everything going on, just like everything else that happens when a government gets involved. But this will be good for the people of California in the long run. And again, too, take away that fear people have of things that benefit you and me. All right? Now, one of the reasons that Gavin Newsom, okay, you're going to love this, guys. One of the reasons that he signed this bill, this public bank bill, is because the guys who are doing this are people we know. These are guys that are on our show. Okay? The people who put together this whole public banking concept. And there's no big lobbyists behind this. These are grassroots organizers that have been on this show and have been around this show since 2016, when I met them with the Bernie campaign. All right? These are our folks put this together. And when our show got on in California, we made a dent in this. Our listeners calling up down there, and when we told them to call up their congressmen and their senators to promote the public bank, people were so convinced by that show that Gavin Newsom was pressured into signing this bill. How do you like that? I should be getting an award for that. I should be getting a public banking award. All right? I want to nominate myself for that one. I have to stand outside for that one. Let's see how we're doing on time here. 44 seconds. Okay, here we go. Hey, let's see. A lot of the stuff I don't want to talk about right now. This kind of a conspiracy theory. I might want to not go into. I'll tell you this, okay? I'll talk about this. Upcoming show I'm working on is I had a conversation with the video professor. Do you remember the video professor? Back, I guess it was, when was it, the 80s or the 90s? This guy, John Scherer, the video professor, okay, had commercials on TV every 10 minutes. And what it was is where computers were just starting to be sold, and he was selling a video that would teach you how to work a computer. This guy was teaching you DOS commands on a video, okay? And his commercial was on every 5 minutes, man. So I really enjoyed my talk with John Scherer. He's kind of old, now. He was old back then, He's older now. Anyway, it turns out this guy, the video professor, was never a professor, first of all. Okay. There was no video professor university. All right? They were like Trump University, this guy, But not only that, he confessed to me on the show that he didn't know how to work a computer. He was selling his tutorial videos, man. You got to love it, man. But it turns out to be a very nice man. I really enjoyed him. We had a little fun talking about the video professor. And his thing now is he's all upset with Walmart. Because, what is it? Walmart sells these compressed air duster cans, right? That you spray on your keyboard to get the dust out and crumbs out of your keyboard, right? But people don't really buy it for that. People buy that stuff to get high on. They're huffing it, And it's tragedy because it kills all your brain cells. It's so addictive. It's lethal. It can be lethal, too. Those cans blow up, too, in your car, we were talking about as well. So it just so happens, so he's very upset about this. Just so happens he's in the business of a product that competes with that. So it's basically a 1 hour commercial. This guy sells his product. But we got some stuff in there about the video professor, which was fun. And we did get a chance to bash Walmart. If you're still going to Walmart, man, you got to boycott Walmart. All right? If you shop at Walmart, man, you're hurting yourself. Every penny you put into the pockets of the Walton family. I remember I started doing this show in 2013. And the Walton family owned 30% of all the wealth and assets in this country. Okay? That meant that if all of us took our nickels and dimes and pennies and whatever, Krugerrands, whatever we got, and put it on a big pile, it wouldn't equal to 70% of the country would equal to the Walton family, right? 6 members of the Walton family would equal 100 million people's wealth and assets, all right? And stop and think of that. That's way too much for these people to have. But not only that, but that was then. Now it's up to 40%. So it's going up. They're making more. They're getting more of our wealth and hoarding our wealth. And then meanwhile, they pay no tax. And they pay their workers. They won't pay their workers a living wage. And then they wind up on food stamps. So not only when you give money to Walmart, you spend money on Walmart, and you complain about paying taxes, you got to pay more taxes because Walmart doesn't want to pay their own employees. They want you to pay their employees. So you got to boycott Walmart. There's no way around that. All right. If we want to have anything going on, if we want to have nice things, okay. If we just want to have nice things, you gotta boycott Walmart. Okay. You know what? I think I've lost my voice, and since this segment of the show. It doesn't go into this live portion I do very rarely goes into the AM FM stations anymore. I like to keep it more informal and intimate for the internet listeners and the podcast listeners. The people that are more like family, who've been with us all this time. So I would want to ask you to, let's keep up those memberships. Okay, the memberships have kind of been dying off. I've been adding a lot of new content in there. I put in 2 hours with Servando Gonzalez, who has those amazing theories about Cuba and Castro, and that are just he's a smart guy, but he's got some strange theories. Then there was an hour or two with Stu Webb, and Stu Webb interviewed me. And you know how Stu Webb is. He was interviewing me about my work in the Epstein case. Oh, God. All right, guys. I got to go, man. Have a good night. And now a word from our sponsors. Hey, check out our brand new sponsor, Dynamic Solutions 2. That's the number 2. They offer a life-changing, dynamic financial solution. The finest in fast, professional, affordable credit repair. Is your credit in bad shape? Do you need a new car? Ready to buy a new house? You want to rent an apartment? Are you going to apply for a job? Any one of these activities, they're going to ask for a credit report and then check out your credit score. Let Dynamic Solutions 2 erase your negative credit remarks. They have affordable monthly prices. They accept Visa, MasterCard, PayPal options available. You go to www.dynamicsolutions, that's the number 2.com, or call 424-888-2820. 424-888-2820. Now, if you enter promo code ED or you mention Ed Opperman, you get a 10% discount. How's that? You get a free consultation, all negative items removed, get back in positive credit position. Dynamic Solutions 2, life-changing dynamic financial solutions. 424-888-2820. Tell them Ed Opperman sent you. You get a 10% discount.
Tina Helmuth is writing an ongoing series of fact-fiction books that boldly takes on today's most heinous crimes, the abduction, sexual trafficking, and cannibalization of our children. Suffer the Little Children, The Wrath of the Father, and Unbreakable. Deeply researched and mixed with the supernatural, good versus evil makes these thrillers hard to put down, shining a light on the root cause of these crimes and introducing a spiritual solution. Justice will be served. Available at lulu.com in paperback or ebook.
Are you ready to change your life, but don't know how to start? Is your stress and worries keeping you awake at night? Have you been battling grief, anxiety, or depression all alone? Have you lost touch with your own sense of being or spirituality? Soul Free Therapies offers professional and affordable live video streaming counseling and coaching services from the comfort of your own home. Sessions offered in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Go to our website at www.soul-free.com and book your first session today.
It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.